Hello from the end of the longest dead-end road in the UK. Last night I drove to this point here, which is the end of a 22-mile dead-end road. Over the next 2 days, I'm going to be hiking through some of the UK's most remote areas and making my way to the UK's most remote mainland community. I stayed just there in the car park. You can stay in your camper van for £10 a night and there's an honesty box. The views here are spectacular. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the views are like further on. So let's get going. A few weeks ago, I stayed at a bothy for the first ever time. So for those of you who aren't aware about what a bothy is, around Scotland and other parts of the UK, there are these unmanned and unlocked shelters that you can stay in for the night. They're usually made of stone or wood. They're very rustic and don't usually have any amenities like running water, electricity or firewood. I'm hoping to stay at a bothy tonight, which is en route. So that is my location today. The last time I stayed in the bothy, I was by myself, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing because it was a little bit scary. However, tonight I am expecting that there will be other people staying in the bothy since there are quite a few cars in the car park where I left the camper van. Wow, look at the views already. So out here there's no network coverage at all, and I wasn't sure how I would know the way to go. I downloaded something called OS Maps, which some of you might have heard of before. So I will show you how it works. So I searched for Kinloch Hourn, and then I found the 2 walks that I want to do. So one walk is the one I'll do today, and then the other walk is then the second part, which I will do tomorrow. So today we're going to be walking from Kinloch Hourn to Barrisdale, and then I downloaded the map. So even though I have no signal and it's offline, I can still look at the map. So you can see there where I started, and then it's got the GPS signal so it can see where I am. So this is where I'm going to be walking today, all along the side of this loch. Wow, it's huge. And then I'm going to be finishing here, and that's where the bothy is. I've just zoomed out so you can see it a bit better, but it says it's around 6 miles and it estimates around 2.5 hours for this walk today. And also it says that it sends you notifications if you go off course of the actual route. I don't know if I'll get notifications because I don't have any signal, but that's really good to know. So now the road is ending and we're heading onto this path here beside the loch. Oh, there's someone coming into the bay in a boat. I'm actually quite impressed with the path. I thought there might not be a path, but it's quite easy to follow so far. Where I'll be hiking over the next 2 days is a place called the Knoydart Peninsula. Knoydart is a 55,000 acre peninsula located between Loch Nevis, which means heaven in some Gaelic translations, and Loch Hourn, which means hell. It's one of mainland Britain's most remote areas and is the only sizeable area in Britain that remains inaccessible to vehicles. It's only accessible by foot or boat. Over the next 2 days, I'll be walking a 15-mile route alone across the Knoydart Peninsula. So just an update on the map. It's moving as I am moving, so it's working. This is absolutely great. So the walk is starting to get extremely beautiful. In the distance there is a building, and I actually came across an article online from around 20 years ago, and this was the UK's most remote guest house at one point, but I think it's no longer operating as a guest house. The hike so far is incredible. I'm really enjoying it. The weather is so nice. I saw some deer as well. I've always wondered, do deer attack people? I don't think they do, but are there any instances that you've heard of where deer attack humans for some reason? I don't think I've ever heard of that, but I'm not sure. I'm just on the bridge now, and that pool looks so nice. I really want to go in swimming, but I don't have my swimming staff, so it would need to be a skinny dip. Well, the good thing about a skinny dip is you don't have a swimming costume to dry. Nobody wants to see that. So now it looks like we've got a hill ahead of us. Let's hike up there. I just met 2 people hiking. They've come from the Netherlands and they're doing the Cape Wrath Trail. The Cape Wrath Trail is a hiking route that runs through the Scottish Highlands and along the west coast of Scotland. It's approximately 200 miles in length and is considered to be one of the most challenging long-distance walks in the UK. This must also be part of the Cape Wrath Trail. They were asking me, why is it called a loch and not a lake? In Scotland, bodies of water like this are called lochs. Then they were asking, why is it not a fjord? Because it's connected to the sea. In Scotland, this would be called a sea loch. In Scotland, we use the word loch. Loch is a word meaning lake or sea inlet in Scottish Gaelic. Loch Hourn is sometimes said to be the most beautiful of Scotland's west coast sea lochs. This is the scenery ahead, and it looks like there's another hill coming up there. I just had to cross this little river here. It was quite easy. There's lots of stones that you can step on so your feet don't get wet. There's another house there. Maybe that was the guest house actually. It's definitely more remote. One thing I was really quite worried about before doing this hike was the path. But the path is really easy to follow. I'm now about halfway along the loch. And this is what the path looks like now. So it's really, really easy to follow. Very difficult to get lost as you're just following the loch. Now I'm walking through this lovely woodland area. There's so much moss. So I was just checking on the map and I'm now around 2/3 of the way to the bothy, and it looks like there's around 1 hour left. I still have around 2.5 miles to walk. So I'm going to have a break here, continue walking. I've really enjoyed the walk so far. I'm really glad that I decided to split it up over 2 days. It makes it more enjoyable and you can take breaks and take in the views. Really, really beautiful here. This is what I'm having for my lunch. I found this in Aldi. I was a bit desperate. I couldn't really find anything that was small and compact. So you put this into a mug and then just add hot water, a bit like a pot noodle. In my bothy video, I received a few questions asking what stove is this. So this is called the Jetboil Stash. It's quite expensive. It's good, like it heats up the water really quickly. It's ideal if you just want to heat water, but I don't love it. It's not worth the money, I don't think. It does pack up really small, so it's good for that, but it's really hard to fit everything back into the tin at the end. And also, if you can see here, this doesn't even connect, you see, here. So I think for the price, it could be better. It's good because I'm hungry, but it's probably a 2 out of 10 under normal circumstances. So packing it away is always a bit of a nightmare. I've actually spent hours watching YouTube videos how to pack this away. I still am struggling. So there's 3 parts. There's the stand, there's the actual burner, and then that needs to fit in. Always so challenging. I get so frustrated with this. Actually, to the point that I don't want to bring it with me. Okay, 5 minutes later, it's not perfect, but it's in. So then the handle goes like that. I actually think it's the wrong way around. I think that part needs to be here. But anyway, it'll do for now. Has anyone else got this? Can you fit all the pieces inside? Look, it's not even closed. So annoying. Wow, Scottish water, so good. Oh dear. I was jumping over this bog here and I slipped and fell. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, it's all going inside my boot as well. Oh dear. I have some extra socks with me. So I've made it down onto a track now, and I think this is the bay and the bothy is around here. It's absolutely stunning. When I go to these places, it's the same when I stayed in the remote hostel. It's always really interesting to me, the nationalities that I meet, because Usually there's not many Scottish people, so today I've probably met 9 people, and there were 2 boys, 2 young guys walking together who were from Scotland, and other people were from Netherlands, Germany, Ireland. I wonder what nationalities will be staying at the bothy tonight. Let's see. In front of me here are some buildings, so it looks like we've arrived at some sort of civilization, and the bothy is still another 15-minute walk from here. Just behind me over there are some deer. Wow, there's more over there as well. So I just arrived at the bothy here, and just beside the bothy, some people are camping. This bothy is located on Barrisdale Estate. I didn't see any roads leading in or out, but estate workers have vehicles here to get around the area of the estate. Some of you might be wondering, what is an estate? In Scotland, estates are large areas of land, often privately owned by individuals. Historically, estates were tied to the nobility, and these days, estates are often used for farming, forestry, recreation, tourism, and conservation. Just arrived in the bothy. Here's the honesty box. It costs £5 to stay here at either the bothy or the campsite, and you can pay cash into the box or pay card at the estate office. Let's have a look in the main room. So here is the main living area of the bothy. So there's a table, lots of chairs. There doesn't seem to be a fire. That looks like it might have been a fire in the past. I wonder why there's a crutch there. Maybe that's in case someone has too much whiskey. Oh, it looks like there's some old tents up there. There's a map of the area on the wall, and there's some smelly socks and some playing cards. Wow, there's even running water at this bothy, so this is quite different to a normal bothy. Usually you have to get water from a stream. And there's also electricity. And there's a socket here for charging your phone. Wow, up on the shelf here there's things that people have left behind. Cups, some pans, a little brush. Oh, there's a stove up there for cooking. And then here's the most important thing for the summer months in Scotland. Oh, it's empty. If you come to Scotland, I recommend to buy this. It protects you from the vicious Scottish midges. When you leave, you need to take all your rubbish with you. There's no bins available here. Here's all the rules, and it mentions the fire was removed due to irresponsible behaviour. Okay, let's go and look at the other side. So here is one of the bedrooms. So this has room for 6 people. Looks like some people might already be staying, or maybe someone left that behind. Here is another bedroom here. Wow, so there's room for another 6 people to stay in this one. It's inside here. Oh, this looks like a bathroom. Wow, there's a toilet at the bothy. It also looks like there's a toilet outside here of the bothy, so let's go in. So this is the toilet, I believe, probably for the campsite. There's some hand sanitizer and some spiders, lots of spiders. There's a light, very nice. So overall, this is a very nice bothy and definitely worth staying here for £5 a night for the amenities that you get, like the toilet, water. Looking forward to staying in my new home for the night. For my dinner, I had mushroom soup, pasta, and enjoyed drinking whiskies with the others who were also staying at the bothy and the campsite. We chatted for hours, and I really enjoyed sharing the bothy with others, compared to my previous experience where I was alone, and my thoughts were running away with me. Okay, I have all of my clothes on. I'm alone in the bedroom. Let's go to sleep. See you tomorrow. I hope it won't be too cold. Hopefully no ghosts. Good morning from the bothy. Last night was really good. There were 2 other people in the common area here. We were chatting for quite a few hours, and then there were some people camping as well. I definitely prefer it when there's other people staying, I think, at the bothy. It's a bit scary staying on your own. So I'm going to make some coffee this morning and then maybe some oats, and then I'm going to head off and continue hiking. Here's the book. Wow, so many people have stayed. Everyone's left a note in the book. They'll need to get a new book. We're onto really onto the last page. Okay, I'm going to write a note before I leave. Okay, I'm all packed up and I'm going to start hiking now and continue on. So today is going to be a bit more hilly. I've got the map. The map says the hike today will approximately take 3 hours and 25 minutes. My back is actually feeling a little bit sore from the bag. I think the bag is probably around 15 kilos because there's quite a few things in there, but I did have some of the food last night, so it's a bit lighter. The weather looks so good today. Let's continue on. So I'm just crossing the bridge here on the river. And look what I saw in the river. Is that a dead deer in the water? I think it might be. There's lots of solar panels there, so that must be powering the electricity for the bothy and then all the buildings that are here. Spectacular here. It looks like we need to go up this track here between the hills. This is where the arrow is pointing. So I'm going to continue walking up here. So far, I'm really enjoying this walk. It's been so much better than I expected. I think if it was raining, it would probably be a very different experience because you wouldn't be able to see all these magnificent views. All your clothes would be damp and wet. The ground would probably be wet underfoot. Yeah, I've been very lucky with the weather. So in this area, there are quite a few big hills. There's some Munros, there's some Corbetts. So the others who were staying in the campsite in Bothy were hiking a few of those hills. I'm the person who's probably doing the least strenuous hike out of everyone.
On the Knoydart Peninsula, there are 6 Munros, which are some of the most wild and remote mountains in the UK. Munros are hills over 3,000 feet, and there are 282 Munros in Scotland.
I've just walked up from here and it's quite a steep ascent to begin with. I'm already at 540 feet elevation and I've stopped here beside a lovely stream for a drink of water before I continue on. Looks like there's more uphill to go. I actually think I might have a bit of a hangover from drinking the whiskey last night, but it was good. I really enjoyed the Arran single malt, the Arran 10-year-old. So if you have a chance to try that one, I definitely recommend it. So in the very far distance over there, we can still see the bothy, but it's disappearing from view ahead of me. This is what the path looks like. Even until now, the path is very easy to follow. It's very obvious where the path is, which is really great. Hopefully it continues this way. Wow, the more I walk and the higher I get, the views are so spectacular. They're amazing. Look at that view. That is unbelievable. I haven't met anyone yet while I've been hiking. So from here, it looks like downhill, and then we're going to be walking along the side of that loch down there that we can see ahead. And then our end destination is that sea loch over there. That's where the most remote community is located. So I've approached this river here. It looks like there used to be a bridge, but it's no longer there. It's fallen down. So there's another little stream that we have to cross here, and there doesn't look like there's a crossing, but I'm just going to walk in the water with my boots. My boots are quite waterproof. Let's do this.
I didn't climb to the summit of any Munros, but instead I crossed over Mam Barrisdale, a 450 metre pass, before descending towards the loch.
Now I've almost made it down to the loch, and then I'll be walking alongside that. I just checked the map and it looks like I'm about at the halfway point of today's walk, and so far I've met 0 people. I've not seen anyone since I left the bothy, so I wonder where everyone is. Maybe people are not doing this track. I don't think this track here is part of the Cape Wrath Trail, but I'm not 100% certain, so maybe that's why there's just less foot traffic along here. There are some parts that have water and some parts are a little bit boggy, but so far I haven't fallen over, which is good. As I'm walking alongside the loch here, there's a boat that's just been left there. On the hillside here beside the loch, there's this abandoned house, and look at the view that this house would have had. Oh my goodness. Wow. So I'm having some oats and then a cereal bar. Actually the gas ran out, so the oats were lukewarm, watery, and I only had chopsticks, so I had to eat them with chopsticks. Anyway, they filled my stomach, so that's good. And as I've been sitting here for around 20 minutes. I've realised how nice it's been the last 2 days not to have any phone signal, no internet. It's very, very rare that I'm not using my phone, not using the internet. Because I post videos on YouTube, that's a big part of my week, and I need internet access. And I'm actually not looking forward to getting signal. I'm just enjoying the last few moments before I might get phone signal. There's still a little bit of the walk to go, but I'm thinking probably near the village there will be some phone reception. I've been walking for around 20 minutes now after my lunch. That was a nice pit stop. I could have stayed there for much longer, but I need to keep going. I have around an hour and 30 minutes left to get to the final destination. However, I'm starting to feel a bit tired, to be honest. My legs are starting to get a bit tired, my feet are a bit tired, and just my whole body in general is feeling a bit tired. It says we've got 58 minutes. Okay. Looks like there's an interesting monument or something on top of the hill there. I wonder if that's a war memorial. So I believe these high fences here are to control the deer. So the deer tend to eat new trees, and then trees can't grow. And there's been so many comments on previous YouTube videos asking why there's no trees. Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. The trees that were here were all cut down and used for firewood, for construction, for different things. And then there's not any predators for the deer anymore. There used to be wolves, I believe, and they were hunted to extinction. So the deer can get out of control and they eat all the new trees. So these fences, I believe, are to stop the deer entering. I've been walking and I can see signs of civilization. I can see a house in the distance and I can see the sea. Oh my goodness, we're getting close to the end. What are all these things here? I wonder if this is where trees were before and then they've been taken out and cut down. Looks really weird. They look like burrows for animals or something. I can see quite a few houses now in the distance. This is the road that I'm walking on, and there's fantastic hills just to the side of it. Not long now until I arrive. I really, really enjoyed the walk. So I have arrived at the start of the Knoydart estate. This is a community-owned estate, and further down the road there is the most remote community on mainland Britain. So here's the sign with all the information. I'm heading down to this area which has the camping and the bunkhouse. Let's go. It looked like on the map back there, if I take this Knoydart in a nutshell walk, it's a shortcut down to the bunkhouse, which is where I'm heading. So let's go down here. Walking through the trees now. Oh, almost there. There's a tree falling down here. Okay, here's the sign for the bunkhouse and the campsite. This is where I'm going, down this road just here. I have made it. Oh my goodness, what a hike over the last 2 days. It was so enjoyable though, the views were so amazing.
2 days and 15 miles later, I finally made it to the most remote community on mainland Britain. Join me in the next video as I explore Inverie.